good.
All right, good. Okay, so we're gonna get started with how to use Retran. Retran to me, I think, is the best website. Some of you guys use Realty Track. I use that. Laura, which one do you use?
Property Radar.
Property Radar. Does anybody use a different website? So those are some of the popular ones. Retran, I think, is really good. On Retran, we're really just gonna do two main things. We're gonna look at notices of default and notices of trustee sale. We'll also look at newest records, but those you don't use as much. So Janelle, if you could do me a favor, if you could click where it says batch search. So everybody make sure you write that down, batch search. That means you're doing a batch. You're looking up a group of properties. In this case, it's either gonna be a notice of default or notice of trustee sale. They're a batch, a group of houses. So when Janelle clicked on it, it automatically defaults to notice of default. Look how notice of default, you can just write notice of default is in black. It automatically defaults to that. The only other one you're gonna do, and we'll click on it later, is the fourth one, auction information. Okay, those are the only two, notice of default and auction. So you could go back, notice of default. Remember, notice of default means that they're at least 3 months behind. Okay, 3 months behind, they get a notice of default. When you look up notices of default, because they've already been filed, you have to go backwards. So that means if somebody's house got a notice of default, it would have gotten it back in November, December, January, February, somewhere before today. So when you do the calendar for notice of default, you always go backwards. So Janelle, do me a favor, click on the first calendar. Let's go back to January 2nd. So you click on, January 2nd. And I picked the 2nd because you don't want to do a Saturday or Sunday. For some reason, it messes up. So always do a weekday. So we're gonna look at all notices of default from January 2nd, and then click on the other calendar, Jonelle, and let's say through today, May 9th. So we're looking, everybody got an NOD January 2nd to May 9th. Keep in mind, today is the 9th. It only is gonna have records through about the 7th, because it takes them a couple days to put the records on their website. Because Retran sends 5 people to the county records office in LA. So that's why the LA records are the most accurate. So 5 people to LA County, they send them to the office. They send 1 person to Orange County, 1 to Riverside County, 1 to San Bernardino County, 1 to Orange, and 1 to Ventura. Okay, so the records aren't as accurate. They're good, but not quite as good. So right now we're getting everybody that got a notice of default from January 2nd to May 9th, keeping in mind it's probably only to about May 7th, okay? And then come down to it's already as the recording date, that's fine. Now, we don't want to show all because we don't want delinquencies. That means they're just late. They don't have a default. So we don't want people that are just late. We want somebody that has a notice of default. We don't want lease pendants. Those are lawsuits because that means that the owner has filed a lawsuit and they're not going to work with us because they have an attorney. We don't want those. We only want the one in the middle, Jonelle, so notices of default only. Click on that. Now, when my telemarketers are calling, so I have Wendy and Monica in the morning, 10 to 1, Dylan's 1 to 4, and I have another person that's gonna be 1 to 4. When they call, we don't click on county or city because we want all 6 counties. Jonelle, do me a favor, click on county. When she clicks on that, I pay for all 6 counties. Because you guys are working with me, it's supposed to be $100 a county. You can get all 6 for $100, okay? Which when you signed up, you got all 6, right? So you get up, and that's just because I've used it for 17 years. So they give you a discount. So if you're gonna door knock, you're gonna do specific. But before we do that, I wanna show you when we make calls. So when we make calls, unclick that, Jonelle. So when Dylan makes calls, he's calling everywhere. He's calling LA County, Riverside, San Bernardino, Orange, Ventura, and whichever one I'm forgetting. San Bernardino or Orange, all 6 counties, okay? And then scroll down, Jonelle. We don't care about property type because they only put the houses on there. We don't care about equity. I used to filter it and say, like, let's look at equity right here, Jonelle, for max, click on that, and put no more than a 90% LTV. So that's because I wanted homes that had equity. But what happened was Retran is lazy. Some of the people that work there are lazy, so they don't put the value. So when they don't put the value, I wasn't getting anything that had a value. So I was excluding hundreds of records every month. Isn't that crazy? And I didn't discover that until maybe 3 months ago because Michael Flamenco, who I did a deal with, we just did a deal, and he has another deal, went to Docs on Saturday. He got a lead that I didn't get. And I was like, I put all the leads in March. How come I didn't get this lead? Well, it's because they didn't have the value on there, so I wasn't getting those. I just discovered that in March. I've been using it 17 years. Isn't that crazy? So I didn't know that. And it's literally because they only send 1 person to all the other counties, they don't have time to go on Zillow and look up the value. So So they weren't putting value. So anything that didn't have a value and I wasn't getting those leads. I was missing out on probably 200 leads per county. So now I have a whole new batch of leads. So anyway, let's take that off. So no max. So you guys don't have to do any of that when you're calling. And then scroll down. Now, if you're making a phone call, you only want to hit show only records with phone numbers. So click on that. It's going to give us, just because if Dylan's making calls, he doesn't want the records that don't have a phone number. Okay, and then after that, Jonelle, all you have to do is hit begin to search. Now, if I go too fast, stop me. And I'm gonna answer questions. So she hit begin to search. We got January 2nd through May 9th. It's loading. The longer it loads, the more leads we have. Probably gonna be over 3,000 because we did all 6 counties and we did January, February, March, April. We're into May. So we got about 4 months. It should at least be 2,000 new NODs. So let's see. And it's loading. So do I have any questions so far?
How quick does it update as far as like when they NOD and then say that you get it and you list it? So the difference between now is updated is no longer kind of the NOD, now they're listing it.
Yeah, it could be within a couple days. Retran is pretty good. However, even if they list it, it still will be NOD. So if somebody has a notice of default and you put your sign up and list it, it's still gonna show NOD. And then what'll happen is if you don't sell it, it could go to auction. It'll have an auction date. Sometimes the bank works with you, sometimes they don't. So when I see, like if I go door knock and we find one, like Deshaun went to one and it had an agent sign up. So I said, don't knock on that. Danny can knock on it because he's not licensed, but if somebody has a listing agent, we're not supposed to knock on it. But what I do is I call the agent and I say, hey, Jonelle, I see you have a listing on Spring Street. Is the bank working with you? Yeah, the bank's pushed the date back. They're gonna give us time to sell that. I know you know what you're doing. A lot of agents, yeah, Robert, we have an auction date of May 20th and I don't have a buyer yet. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'll talk to the agent and say, hey, well, I got a cash buyer, let's work together. So just because they listed, it might still stay in NOD. Okay, and it could eventually get an auction date. This is taking a while to load, which is a good thing. That means there's a lot of leads. So I think it'll be at least 2,000, maybe over 3,000. So let's see what happens. So we did all NODs, we did all 6 counties, and we did 4 months. So that's why it's taking a while to load. Questions, any other questions? So remember, NOD is at least 3 months behind. Dylan, let me ask you a question, because you just came yesterday. NOD means they're 3 months behind. To get an auction date, you have to be at least how long? 6 months and
21 days.
21 days. So that means if you miss it, how many did we get? So here it is right here. Look how many we got, Jonelle. 3,785. That's a lot of money for you guys to make. That means in 4 months, in 6 counties, there were 3,785 new NODs. Now, Jonelle, we could have gone back to October, we would have 5,500 probably. Mm-hmm. That's 3,785 people that just got an NOD since New Year's. That's a lot of people that missed 3 payments. That's a lot of money right there. Okay, now, right here, good, I'm glad you pointed that. They also, and there's a box we can check so we don't get the rescinded ones. Retran is good. If it says rescinded, don't call or door knock that one. They already fixed it. That means they fixed it. You guys see that? Melanie, you see that right there?
Yeah.
There's the date, March 1st. This one got fixed April 11th. They just got it fixed a while ago. It starts, Retran goes opposite A to Z, it goes Z down to A. So with all 6 counties, the last county, last city in the alphabet is Yucca Valley. So it goes Yucca Valley, then you come down, it'll be like Yorba Linda, it'll be Whittier. Scroll down a little bit, Jonelle. So Yucaipa comes next, and it goes all the way down to the first city, which would be Acton, which is a little small city by Palmdale, Lancaster. Okay, let's go back up. So we got 3,785 leads. That's just in ODs. That's not even people with auction dates. Now, each one of those boxes represents a home. So like that first gray box, and you can look right here. It has the default date, January 6th. You come over, it has the APN number, and it tells you up at the top, the street address, the city, state, zip, the homeowner, and the phone number, because we clicked on only records with phone numbers. Even though we do that, it'll still sometimes give you ones without a number. But for the most part, sometimes it gives you 2 numbers. This house is in Yucca Valley. 760 number is probably the home number, or one of the, like the husband's sale. The 626 is either the work or the wife's sale, or vice versa. So sometimes it gives you 2 numbers. One will be work, one will be home, or one will be home, one will be cell phone. Question or no? Okay.
I'm patting my head.
Okay, good job. Good job. So there it is. There's all the information. APN, address, city, state, zip, homeowner's name, phone number. Then you come over here, there's a cheat sheet up at the top. Loan amount, estimated minimum value that they get from Zillow, loan date, that's when they got the loan, December 14th, 2012. The default amount, how much they're behind, $7,000. As of this date, the LTV, they had a 50% LTV, which means they have equity. And then the max offer, 134. That doesn't really mean anything. They're just saying what you could possibly offer on that house. Here's the bedroom, bathroom, but that doesn't really matter because the size doesn't matter. What matters is the value. Because I have a 2-bedroom, 1-bath listing in LA at $1,150,000, whereas that house in Ukaipa would be $180,000. So all you care about is the value. It doesn't really matter about the bedroom, bathroom count. So look at this. Let me know if you have questions. So look up at the top. It gives you kind of the cheat sheet. And each one of these is a different house. Here's a house, here's a house, here's a house, here's a house. So questions, yes?
LTV's value?
Loan to value. So loan to value means how much the loan is versus the value. So if you have a house worth $1 million and you owe $700,000,
It's like net equity.
70, no, you're at a 70% LTV. If you have a house that's worth 100 and you owe 60, you're at a 60% LTV. So that's all the loan to value.
Gotcha.
So loan to the value of the house. So we try to go after ones that have equity because those are easier. But if they don't have equity, which is very few short sales in California, but if they don't have equity, we can still work with them because I'll do a short sale. So say you had a house in Covina and it's worth $580, you owe $600, doesn't look like a good deal. I can get the bank to let me sell it for $500 because it might need a lot of work. A lot of foreclosures need work. Sell it for $500, sell it to this investor, get 6%, so I'll make $30,000 on your house on a short sale because banks will do 5 or 6%. So we go after ones with equity, but if they don't have equity, it's okay. We'll try to do a short sale. But I haven't done a short sale in 2 years because everybody has equity. There aren't that many. Have you done any short sales lately?
No,
I haven't done one in over 2 years. Yeah.
I've always heard the term. What's the stipulations on that?
On what, a short sale?
Yeah.
It just means that they owe more than it's worth. So it means you owe 5, but it's worth
And it
$450.
gives you like a break to be able to do that and make it go quicker. Like
Not really, because you have to deal with the bank, but the banks will let you can get it sold pretty quick.
Okay.
It used to take months, now it doesn't. You can get it done in 30 days.
Gotcha.
Okay, questions?
So are banks taking homes back at that point because they have equity and they like do a REO?
That's a very good question. If the more you have equity, the faster you get foreclosed on. So let me explain it to you like this. Carrington might have 500 foreclosures in Southern California. They might only be able to do 40 a month because you got to get a law firm, you got to do paperwork, you got to pay the lawyers. So they have 500. If they do 40 a month, it might take them 12 months to get to you. So listen to this. If you have a lot of equity, they try to put you in the first batch because everybody, if there's 500 foreclosures, they do 40 a month, you might get foreclosed on in 6 months and 21 days. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But Jonelle might not get foreclosed on to the 9th month. Laura might get foreclosed on the 15th month. Carlos might not lose his house to the 24th month because they have so many, they can only do 40 a month. So it's like going to so now like when I go to the barbershop, I have an appointment. When I was a kid, you go, you sit. If you first, you next, 10 minutes. If you number 6, you're gonna be there 4 hours. You might as well be comfortable. So you might be in the first batch, you might be in the last batch. Does that make sense? But the more equity you have, they wanna foreclose faster because they make more money. So if you own a house, Rochelle, your house in Ukaipa, you owe 400 and it's worth 425, they might not foreclose on you for 3 years. If you're upside down, you might be in there 4 years. They're not gonna make any money. If you owe 4 and it's worth 650, you might go the first month. Because they're trying to make money and they have somebody at a desk that looks at the value and they say, okay, we're gonna foreclose on Melanie, Michelle, and Rochelle this month. Jonelle's upside down, we'll catch her in 2025. Isn't that crazy? That's what they do. Because they're in the business of making money.
Right.
So Danny and I had a call today on the way here. He called me, a guy in Costa Mesa. House is worth 1.2. He's 170 behind. He owes about $1,070,000. And he was telling us, well, I got an attorney and the bank is doing something wrong. They're not working with me, they're not giving me a modification. I told him on the phone, I said, they don't have to do a modification. People have in their mind that banks owe you a modification. You didn't pay for a year and a half, so you have to let me put on the back end. I just told him, they don't have to do that. Who told you that? He got an attorney, he's paying an attorney probably $3,000 a month to tell him what I told him in 2 minutes for free. They don't have to do that. So he thought, but you hear, he said, well, they're not working with me. I said, they don't have to do that. So, okay, so look at this question. So these are NODs. NODs 3 months behind, right? You can get a notice of default. Retran, Jonelle just showed us how to work it. We're gonna go back and do it. I'm gonna have somebody else do it. And these are good. It has the rescissions. You got 3,785 in Southern California. Let's go back, Jonelle. So go ahead, go back, go to fetch it up at the top. Yeah, go come down just a little bit. Fetch it right there.
Right there.
Yep, because I want to completely get out of this. And then go to back search again. So now we're gonna do it as if we're still gonna do NODs, and I'll have somebody tell me what to do. Jonelle's gonna click, but I'm gonna pick on somebody to tell me what to do. So we're gonna pretend that you guys are door knocking. So remember, Rochelle, when we call all 6 counties, every city. But when you're door knocking, you're not gonna door knock every city. You're gonna door knock where you kind of close to where you live. But let me say this, you need to be willing to door knock a ton of cities. So like Deshaun does Riverside. Riverside has a lot, but he also does Corona. Me personally, I do Corona, Riverside, Moval, Chino Hills, Ontario, Rancho, Pomona, Upland, I don't know if I said Claremont, Diamond Bar, Laverne, San Dimas. I do about 20 cities, but it's so much money out there. I do kind of like Corona, and I go Riverside County, San Bernardino County, Eastern LA County, so that means like Pomona, Diamond Bar, Claremont, San Dimas, Laverne. Then I go to Orange County, because I'm in Corona, I do Yorba Linda, Anaheim Hills, Fullerton, Westminster, because there's so much money. I have a lot of door knockers that say, well, I live in Rancho, so I'm gonna do Rancho and Fontana. It's not enough leads. I have one door knocker, she lived in Hooper Valley. It's like 11 in the Hooper Valley a month. It's not enough. She got one deal, she got lucky. She never got another deal because she was trying to just do Hooper. So you need to be willing to go out. That's number one. Number two, people on foreclosure are the least likely to sell. So don't go talk to them and think you'll knock on the door and they go, oh, what's your name, Miss Carter? I said Miss Carter, right? You can tell them, my name is Miss Carter. Oh, Miss Carter, what do you want? Oh, I want to talk. Nah, honey, we're not selling. That's what they're gonna say. So you have to get good at overcoming that. And when they say that, don't take it personal, because you got people give you attitude. Danny and I went to one. Well, he went Saturday and talked to the guy, then he went back and the guy kind of cussed at him. And then I went back yesterday and the dude had attitude with me and said, tell your door now, don't ever come. I said, all right, dude, just be respectful. Like that, South Central's about to come out at me, Janelle, because he was getting rude. I said, be respectful. And I called Danny, I said he was about to get punched through the gate, make sure my brokers are here. But he but just, you gotta keep your cool, because some of them are gonna do that. Don't worry about it, just go on to the next one. So you have to be willing to go to a lot of different areas. Okay, where do you live? Rancho, so be willing. Rancho, Upland, Fontana, Rialto's a gold mine, Pomona, Diamond Bar, all of them. You gotta go everywhere. Laura does Moval, Paris, Hemet, San Jacinto. She's gonna start doing Riverside, because Riverside's a gold mine. Riverside, I pulled it for March, 283 NODs and auctions just to the city of Riverside. So be willing to go where Moval has a ton. Carlos grew up in Moval. I told him Moval, Riverside, Corona, Chino Hills, Ontario. My Spanish speakers, Ontario's a gold mine. Frank lives in Chino. He does Chino. We had a meeting in Chino. Ontario's a gold mine.
I've been doing that. I've been going into Upland, Claremont.
Perfect.
I've been hitting Rancho, Fontana,
Yep. You gotta
Rialto.
do all those.
I kind of planned around what my work schedule is.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
like if I'm in that area, I
Yeah.
look up at least 5 leads in that spot
Okay.
and knock my neighborhood.
Good, very good. So that, I would say
Yeah.
definitely when you go door knock. So now we're gonna do it as if we're door knocking. So Rochelle, I'm gonna have you tell me, you're gonna tell me, because Jonelle's gonna click, but you're gonna tell me. So now we're doing it for door knocking. So here we go, NOD, give me some dates. Don't use the same dates we did. So give me some different dates. We can make it a little smaller. Let me say this real quick. You could go back to 2022 if you wanted to. So you would just click on that, go to 2022, and then you could say, give me everything from like November 1st. But for the sake of this, let's make it shorter so it doesn't take as long to load. So we did January last time. Give me a shorter window. So what months do you want her to do?
So let's say, shoot, we could go December.
February or March? You want to fit like closer, so don't
So
go back.
closer, not
Yeah,
the
closer,
90
yeah,
days.
so closer to
Okay,
May.
so let's go February.
Okay, February what day?
February, 1st.
Okay, February 1st, there we go. It's on a Wednesday, so that's good. Through what day? We don't have to go through March 9th, give it a shorter day.
Let's say,
April, March 1st, okay, March 1st, go ahead, March 1st.
let's see what that is.
Mm-hmm, go up, you gotta go up.
March.
Yeah, you gotta go up,
Robert,
Okay.
before you go any further,
Uh-huh.
so for door knocking, you have to go shorter?
No, not at all. I'm just doing it because I don't want to take as much time. No,
Okay.
you can still do November 1st through today. I'm just doing it for that. So we just do it February 1st through March 1st. Yeah, if I was door knocking, I would do Y, but that's okay. Rochelle, tell me what to do now. In this category, which one do I want? Do I want delinquencies?
No.
I only want default, thank you.
Default.
I don't want delinquencies or lease pendants, okay? Good. You're door knocking, so you tell me what county are you gonna door knock?
Riverside.
Okay, so click on county, and then she comes over here, Riverside. And then you're not gonna do the whole county, because you're not going way out to Temecula, so then you gotta click on city.
Alright.
Click on city, now tell me, here's every city in Riverside County, what cities are you
I
gonna
would
do?
go to Mobile,
Okay, so we'll go down to Moval, right, yep, and where else?
Paris.
Paris, good. Come down, yep, good.
Oh yeah.
There it is right there. And where else?
Let's say Beaumont.
Beaumont, okay, go up. Good, that's a good one. Beaumont. Okay, we'll just do those 3 for now. But if you wanted some other cities, you could do Riverside, you could do Norco. Okay, nothing there. Come down, nothing there. And we're door knocking, so we're not hitting records with phone numbers because we're not calling them. We're door knocking. Okay, and then let's do this because we don't want the ones that have been rescinded. So Jonelle, click right there. Do not show rescinded. There's not that many, but just so it takes them out. And then hit begin the search, and that's it. Done. That's NOD, that's it right there. You wouldn't do cities because you're gonna be calling, but if you start door knocking, you would. So now you see how to do it for the calls and how to door knock. Okay, in those 3 or 4 cities, we got 28 records. There's 28 you could go to, okay, Rochelle?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Questions? First.
So if we are all using the same
Yes.
system and
Uh-huh.
lists and so on, so what if, can't remember your names right now, but if he went to this one house and it happened to go to that same house the same day?
It's whoever gets the appointment, it doesn't matter. There's so many.
I mean-
Yeah. So let me say this, sometimes in the house of Riverside that I've been to, he's been to, Josie and Lorena have been to, and somebody else, it doesn't matter, because it's just, whoever gets them that day. And because we work together, like if you get it, then I'll do the deal with you. If he gets it, I do the deal with him.
Had one on Saturday, the dude, that person who wife didn't want to give it over to the owner. Two people came by, but I connected with the husband, so.
Yeah,
kinda
he got the
working
number.
him.
Yeah, it just, because what's gonna happen is they're going through something. Remember, it's because of divorce, loss of job, too much debt, or death in the family. The day you go, she might be sad because her high school sweetheart left her for the secretary, so she's not gonna deal with you. And you look like the high school sweetheart. But then he goes and he reminds her of her nephew, so he goes with her. So it doesn't matter, because there's so many, it happens all the time. I'll give you another example. Carlos and I have one that the people agreed to let us list it. They met with us, the pictures were yesterday. He went, they didn't open the door. Called them, they went dark on us. Auction date's May 25th. Danny went to that same one yesterday, 2826 Brockton, but we already had it. It's just the luck of the draw. But next month, he'll get one that he tried to get. There's so many, it doesn't matter. It's never an issue, because just in those 4 counties, Riverside has 283, and that's just one city. So it doesn't matter. If you don't get it, he will, vice versa. Okay? Question?
You're first, yeah.
Can you, is there a way that you could put criteria for NOTs instead of NODs?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do that next. Yeah, the auction, yep, that's next, definitely. Those are the only 2 we do. So I'll do that. I just wanna make sure they got NODs,
Really quick, Robert, what do you suggest on the NODs going on? How far back should we go? Should we do like 2-3 months back up until like today?
I do like 6 months back.
So today?
Yeah, till today. I do 6 months. Then you have a whole ton, and you just go through them. And some of the ones, by the time you get to them, they will either have an auction date or they fixed it, and some won't. So a lot of times you'll go on, they really have already fixed it. Just go to the next one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Does it act as a CRM or is it just strictly a list? Because she made the comment of like, what if we talk to so and so, or what? Do we have anything where we're labeling and notating each lead, or no?
Not really. When you go to the house, what I do, so when I go to the house, so here might be a stack of ones I'm door knocking, and I literally have it on a clipboard like this. Here's the next house I'm going to. This is in Chino, Riverside, and Benson. This is the one I have in escrow, but for the sake of this, I put all the notes here. Talk to Nelson. He wants to do a loan. He said call him on Friday. That's it. Then after I leave that house, I put this on the bottom, and the next house I'm going to is right here.
Gotcha.
And I drive to that one. So no, don't start. I don't take too many notes before I go. I wait till I go to the house. Because I had door knockers that they pull the lead, then they look and see if it's been on the MLS. Then they check title. Then they call around and see if anybody else. Next thing you know, they spend an hour on a property and they're not even gonna get a deal on. That's number one. Number 2, they exclude too many properties. So just pull your leads and door knock. You're just calling. But if your door knock can pull 15 leads, go hit the doors.
I was saying more about after the fact. But
Yeah, after the fact, you definitely take notes. I just write it right on here.
Gotcha. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if this works as it. But
Yeah, let me show you this.
That'd be
Retran
great.
has a place where you can take notes. Jonelle, click on that right there. Now you can put a note with that record. So if you're just in front of a computer, I'm kind of old school. I just write them on the paper, but my telemarketers, the ladies you met yesterday, they put notes in there. But if you change the date, it erases the note. So for me, I just put the note on the paper. Yes, okay. All right, any other questions about the NODs?
So, the date for the range, it's the date that the notice of default was filed? or
100%, there it is, nothing else. That's it.
Okay.
So that means they got a notice of default for yours between, you said February 1st to March 1st. So anybody got a notice of default in January or April, you didn't get it. So that's why I do a wide range. Did you hear that, Laura? That's why I do a wide range. Because if you just do like a month, you're not gonna get that many. So I go back like 6 months. Okay? Question. Okay, so that's NOD. So everybody got NOD, you go backwards. Okay? Question.
So you were saying don't check to see if it's on the MLS, but wouldn't that help you not waste your time knocking on a door that's already listed?
But then if you pull 20 leads, if you find out if you pull every one and then you spend another 30 minutes. I mean, if you could do it, it's okay, but my thing is I go out and if it is listed, I just call the agent because 80% of the agents don't know how to work foreclosure. So even if it's listed, I call the agent. A lot of times I work a deal with that agent or I bring in a cash buyer. So you could do that if you could do it quickly. But a lot of times I'm pulling 30 leads. I'm not really gonna go and look on the MLS because that's one of those things because people look on the MLS, then they check title. I just go because I'm gonna be out anyway and it's usually if I'm going to 7 in Riverside, it's not gonna take me that much time to get to that one if I'm already in Riverside. Okay, but you could do that if you can do it fast. But I try to eliminate all the things that take up too much time. So you could do that. Because sometimes I'll call the sale hotline on the auction and see if it already got cured. So yes, you could do that. Question? Okay, so now we're gonna do auction. So let me give you guys a little quiz. NODs have already been filed, so we go backwards. Auctions are coming up, so we go which way? Forward. Okay. Jonelle, do me a favor. We're only gonna do notice of default and auction. So go to auction information. Right there, yep. We got our 2 calendars, we're going forward. So Janelle, give me everybody going to auction. Today is May 9th, so I don't want somebody going to auction May 12th because I don't have time to help them. Give me everybody going to auction between May 19th and June 30th. June 30th, yep, it's a Friday, perfect. And then because we're calling, I'm not gonna do county or city, so scroll down. And then we're calling, so show only records with phone numbers. And then hit begin the search. So we did, what months did we just did like a little over a month, May to June. If we had done like May through, there's never as many auctions as there are NODs because a ton of people have NODs, but it takes a while to get to auction. So we had 3,785 of those. We'll probably only have between 600 and 1,200 auctions because we only did like a little over a month. We may not have that many, may have like 300 or 400. If we had done like May 19th to the end of July, we'd have more. But because we only did a month, maybe we'll have between 600 and 1,200 is my guess. Let's see. So we did everybody going to auction. So does it make sense to you so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So look, what I say between 600 and 1,200 because I know how the system works. Because there's always more people with LDs. Because remember, it takes some people 6 months to get to auction, some people 7, some people 8, some people 2 years. So you're always gonna have more NODs. So because we did a month, all 6 counties, we got 1,112. It's the exact same thing. Starts at Yucca Valley all the way down to Acton. There's the APN number, there's the address, there's the sale location where the sale is. If you guys ever wanna see how the auction looks, it has let's look at that first one. So remember, this is a snapshot. Each one is a property, but when you're calling or if you wanna print leads, to get a whole page with just one house, you click on the number, not the box right there, that number. We're gonna get a whole page with just that one house on Dakota Lane in Yucca Valley.
I can barely see that number.
Yeah, you can barely see it. Come down a little bit.
It's 1.
Yeah, it's a one. It's gonna come up. There you
There
go.
we go.
Now we have a whole page of just one house. So when I'm printing leads, Carlos, the leads that they send you, they clicked on the number 1 for all those leads. So now, this house, there's the APN, there's bedroom and bath, which doesn't matter. That's a small house. 1 bedroom, 1 bath in Yucca Valley, 700 square feet. They better get that house away. They don't buy that house. Anyway, there's the name, Stephen Cruz, Dakota Lane. Here's the minimum bid at auction, 156. Last known bid, 55. It's at the auction on Central Avenue in Chino. I've gone to that auction. My investor bought there. It's literally outside the court. So if you walk up, there's about 30 people outside. You got the auctioneers, you got the investors trying to buy. Sometimes you have the people losing their house. They're praying nobody buys it. When somebody buys it, they start crying. They tell people, don't buy my house. It's kind of sad. Anybody ever been to the auction? You gotta go. Because then you'll understand the whole process. People, it's outside. The biggest auction is LA County, it's Norwalk. The one in Norwalk is so big. So Pomona is big, it's right on Mission Street. That's for LA County. Because LA County is bigger than all the other counties, so LA has as many auctions as all the other counties combined. The one in Norwalk was so big because it was on the steps, they had to move some of them to Pomona because it was causing accidents. Because there'd be 100 people out there, people screaming, grabbing the investors, don't buy my house. People getting in fights, it started causing accidents because people would be driving, it's on like Imperial, I think, and they would be looking at what was going on, they would have accidents. So they moved a lot of them to Pomona, and there's one other site. But you can literally go, so this house is going to auction on, it's an original date, 11/15/22. But as you can see, they've had multiple auction dates. November 15th, January 24th, April 18th, now June 27th, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. So that means they've had multiple dates. When I door knock, I only go to homes that have had 1, 2, or 3 auction dates. You guys should write this down. The reason, and Deshaun, you're getting good notes, right? He forgot to take notes. All right, you got it, okay. All right, so the reason people have more, like 4 and 5 auction dates is one of several reasons. They got an attorney, they filed bankruptcy. They got an attorney and they filed a temporary restraining order against the bank. It could be bogus, but in this country, this state, if you file a lawsuit, they have to investigate it. So they investigate for a year, and you get a court date a year from now. It takes 6 months. You've got 18 months, and they delayed your foreclosure. Once the bank wins, they got to start all over again. So people file a lawsuit every year and a half for 10 years. Can you believe that? They rather pay an attorney $3,000 a month than pay a $4,000 a month mortgage. Okay, so this one has 4 auction dates. I probably wouldn't door knock it. Sometimes if it's in the area I will, but they've done something. Bankruptcy, temporary restraining order against the bank, or they got a mod. If you file bankruptcy or get a modification, the bank is gonna give you an auction date every month until you've made all 12 payments. So in a modification, you either make a 3, 6, or 12 month where you make payments, and then once you make that last payment, they bring you out of foreclosure. The bank will give you an auction date every month to make sure you make that payment. So if Melanie has, she's got an auction date of June 27th. If she misses her June 1st modification payment, they can foreclose right away. They don't want to take it off because they want to be able to foreclose if you miss the payment. Same with bankruptcy. If you're in bankruptcy, you have to make a payment to the trustee every month. If you miss a payment, they want to be able to foreclose. So that's why you see people that have had auction dates for a year or 2, because they're in a modification, a bankruptcy, or a lawsuit. Question.
So let's say you get denied for a modification, you could once again apply for a modification again?
Some banks will let you, but most banks have gotten smart, because some banks will let you, Jonelle, keep reapplying. So people apply for a modification every year for 5 years. Banks finally got smart and said, once you get denied, that's it. But they used to just let you keep reapplying. It's the dumbest thing. So people just apply for a modification over and over. Some banks will still do that, but for the most part, no. Okay? So this is one I might not door knock, but at least here's all the information for you. I just, because they've had multiple dates, something's going on. If I'm curious, I'll go talk to them and say, well, what'd you do? Oh, I filed bankruptcy, but before it gets discharged, I just cancel the bankruptcy. Then the bank starts all over again. Sometimes the banks will get smart and not start all over again. Sometimes they don't.
They can cancel the bankruptcy?
Yes. So if you do a bankruptcy and it's successful, it's called discharge.
Right.
If you do a bankruptcy and it's not, or you cancel it, it's called dismissed. Some people will get down the line, get the auction date pushed back or canceled, and then they just dismiss it. Then the bank will come back in 6 months, try to foreclose, they file BK again.
And then they can turn around and keep doing the
Keep doing it. Banks in the last couple of years have gotten smarter, and if you dismiss it, they give you a date every month. So if you dismiss it, they foreclose right away. That loophole doesn't work as much. Some banks haven't gotten smart, but most of the banks have. Okay? Just like some parents know when their kids are trying to sneak out and go to a party, others don't. That's kind of what it is. Some banks haven't gotten smart, so people, if they have that bank, they just keep filing for bankruptcy. Questions? Okay, let's go back. So Jonelle, do me a favor, just hit the arrow to go back. I want to go back to that screen.
How do you pull up a whole bunch of sheets? Like
Okay, so what you do, if I'm gonna door knock, say all of these were in Riverside, and you just click on number 1, print that one, click on number 2, print that one, click on number 3, and print that one. You have to do it one by one.
Okay,
Yeah,
one by one.
I don't know if there's a way, I don't think there is, to print all of them, maybe. If
Maybe
you
if
just,
you
so let's try multiple. So do me a favor, hit 1, and hit, let's see, and hit 2. You see it does one at a time.
No, I think if you click the white box
Yeah, let's try it. Okay, let's try it. Let's
Yeah,
see.
just the
so
box
click the
alone.
box. Let's see.
and then hit print this at the.
Okay, let's do. Okay, let's do. Maybe it's okay. Let's see if it'll print both of them. Maybe so.
I was gonna say, Robert, is there a way, because I realize sometimes when I'm having my papers, I try to do the best I can to map it, but sometimes I'm realizing I'm crossing back and forth.
Route.
Is there any
Get
way?
you an app. Get you an app.
Just as an
app?
I used to route app.
Yeah, so there is a way, let me show you. So there is, okay, so let's see, so go ahead, do me a favor. Misty, will this print to A1 from here? Okay, do me a favor, change that printer, go up to the top and change it to D1. Yep, because that's the bigger, and then hit print down here. And let me see if it prints, let me see if it's here.
I gotta wait for it to.
Okay, we're doing D1 now, so. So check and see if it's right around there. So maybe, that may be a way to print more than one. But I always just do one at a time because I like to read the paper and see what's on it. Okay? Frank, did you hear that? So I do one at a time, so I like to read the paper. Okay, that's all right. And see what's on it. So, but if you can print, it didn't print? Okay, don't worry about it. Okay. Huh? Yep. All right, so that's it pretty much right there. So I look at each one and decide if I want to go, because I want to see how many auction dates it has. Okay?
So is this like telling you the?
Oh, that's telling you the location. So look right here, Deshaun, hold on a second. I want you guys to look at this. So click on that car. You got it. Page and responsible back to log out. Don't hit exit, hit wait. It's probably gonna log us out, but we can come back in. Just hit the wait thing if it lets you. So, and then sometimes it's their website. So we'll go back in, it's okay. But the car, okay, so just log back in, return. Go back. Yeah, that one right there. And we'll probably have to log in. Okay, we're there, good. Okay, so let's go
Back to
go back up to the top. And then we're on auction, so just go May 10th to May 24th. So that way we just get it real
Yeah,
fast.
because I'm doing on Retran right here on my end, and then I can see that when I click on the car, it gives me the location
Yes,
of
so
where it
that's
is.
what I was gonna get to, so let me tell you that. So, and then go to, we don't take off the only records with phone numbers, because we're
Take
door
it out.
knocking, or just for the sake of whatever, they begin to serve. So that's what I was gonna tell you, and there are apps, but Deshaun's a lot younger than me. What I do is I just know all the off ramps. So if I'm door knocking Riverside, once I click on the car, I know it goes like Pierce, La Sierra, Tyler, Van Buren, Madison, or Adams, Madison. I just go in order. So there are apps that'll do it for you. I just look and see where it is, and I put 91 in Van Buren.
Yeah, because I did
Tyler
Tyler
and Hull.
yesterday, and I did my best. I was looking at where they were on the map. I'm like, okay, it's about right here, right here. So then I planned myself accordingly, but then I realized like, oh, I'm backtracking, and I'm like, I haven't.
See, probably because I've been doing it, I just know where all of them are. But click on like this card right here, Jonelle.
What app do you use?
Route me.
Route.
Route.
Okay, and then it tells me, then I can say, okay, it's right here by Oak Glen and Avenue E. And I just write that at the top of it. Look, here's one right here. This is one that's in escrow. It's at Riverside and Benson. You know where that is in Chino, right, Frank? Riverside and Benson.
Mm-hmm.
I just write it up at the top because I map it. Here's another one. This one is in Menifee. Oh, this is actually one that you got. This is your deal right here, Luis. So that one I didn't door knock. This is one that he actually, that's in escrow right now. And that was the lender calling me. But I just write it up at the top where it is. But you know, you use the app for you young tech savvy guys. So questions. So remember, NOD, we go backwards, auction, we go forward. And that's it. So questions about auctions. So let's go back, Jonelle, do me a favor. Just go back to the Retran, the second tab, right there, yep. Okay, so here it is, that's it. Now you got auction dates, it tells you the date. Let's click on this one right here, Jonelle, number 5. Click on a number. Let's get a whole page with that one. This one only has 2 auction dates. April 17th and May 18th, and that's it. I would door knock this one. Minimum bid, $32,000. Now let me point something out. Remember, for those of you on door knock LA County, the records are more accurate. For every other county, when you're doing an auction, they don't have the accurate minimum bid information. All they do, because only one person is going, look at that origination date, July 28, 2021, loan amount $32,698. They always put whatever the loan was, Carlos, they put that for the minimum bid. Because only one person is going, they don't have time to look up the actual bid. So they just take whatever their original loan was and they say that's the bid because they figure it's going to be close. If they've had the house for a year or 2, it is close. If they had the house for 20 years, it's not going to be close. So you just have to know that going in.
So what is
Okay.
it for 32,000?
So right there. Look, there's the look at her. 32,000 loan, come down, 32,000 bid. Every county other than LA, they're always going to put the same amount. For every other county, Rochelle, they're not gonna put they're gonna put for LA County, they're gonna put the accurate minimum bid. If you're Danaca, Riverside, San Bernardino County, on auction, they're just gonna put whatever the original loan is. It doesn't matter, when you go talk to them, if they're gonna work with you, you ask them how much they owe. So don't overthink this stuff, because why overthink? These people may not work with you, so I don't spend that much time on it. Once they sit down with me, then I ask them what they owe. Does that make sense? I don't wanna waste time on something that people aren't gonna open the door. Why spend 10 minutes and not gonna open the door? You can talk to them.
It has no information, so is it land?
No, it's a house. They just are lazy in other counties. So no, it's not land, it's a house. It's a house.
And they bought it for $32,000?
It's Yucca Valley, yeah. Yucca Valley's cheap. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's out there by 29 Palms, yes.
Oh,
So
okay.
so let's go back, because I don't want you, let's get off of Yucca Valley, because it's kind of like Podunk. Let's scroll down. Just keep scrolling, keep scrolling. We got 1,377. Let's stop right there. Let's go to Whittier. Here we go. Let's go up a little bit. West Hills. Let's go West Covina. This one right here, number 56. Click on that one. That's LA County. So let's see if the records are accurate. Look, no values, 0. So I was missing those, but she clicked on that one. Okay. Here it is. Huber Farron, original 05 760. Minimum bid is $958. That means that they took out more money against their house. They had an auction date January, February, March, April, May. I probably would door knock this one. They probably have an attorney.
They already have.
I would. They're on their 5th auction date, and they might not have any equity. They owe $1 million on a 4-bedroom house. It might be worth $1 million and something. So what you could do, real quick, and I'll get to you, Frank. What you could do. So the address is 942 Los Rosas. 942 Los Rosas. If I just real quick, I would do this and just see what it's worth. 942.
Are you looking it up on Zillow or what are you looking
Zillow,
it up
because Zillow and Redfin give you a good starting point. It's not accurate, but I just use it as a starting point. Los Rosas, Zillow says it's worth $1.4 million because it's West Covina. A lot of Chinese moving in that area, got cash, 1.4, so it does have equity. Redfin says they don't have a Redfin on here. Realtor.com might have it. $1,291,000. So it has equity. So I might not door knock it because they're on their 5th, but if you're already in West Covina, you never know, you might get a listing. Questions?
Yeah, when you go back one more page, like the listing right below that one has like an MLS price.
Yes.
That's because they're already working with an agent and they're trying to get that.
Only
sold.
sometimes. What happens is,
Right
that
below
means
you
they
see where it
listed
says
at some point.
at
So I'll show you, so
72?
let's do this.
Oh,
Okay, let's look at this
72?
one. So let's look at this one, Villa Park, let's look at the address. So the address is.
This is 148 days.
118 days, 148. Let me just tell you, most of them, when it says MLS there, aren't still listed. It just means they listed at some point. But you'll see ones that say listed 1,200 days because they've taken it off the MLS. Retran doesn't check the MLS and see. But let's see. Somebody, do me a favor, Google this address, 16297 Trinidad. Somebody Google it, see if it's on the market. 16297 TRINIDAD Drive. It says it's been listed 148 days.
Victorville, yeah.
See if it's still listed.
According to Zillow.
Under contract.
Under contract. Okay, very good. So that one is. Let's look at the one in Villa Park. Look up 18462 Villa Drive. 18462 Villa Drive. See if that one's still listed.
Oh, that house is annoying.
The apartment.
Say again.
What city is that?
It's not
Villa
active.
Park.
It's not active.
See? But
It was
look.
sold December 21.
They sold December 20. See, it's not always accurate, so I don't worry about that. I'm just telling you because I've learned that Retran, some of their records are good, some aren't. So if it says MLS, I still go.
Okay.
So what's gonna happen is then you're gonna filter those. Then you go look up title. Then next thing you know, you filtered out half the leads and you missed out on deals.
2.875.
All right. So questions about auction. Yes.
Some questions. I had door knocked probably about 2 months ago. I even told you this property, right? It was on the 2nd, and where they were default. So the owner didn't he didn't know about it. I showed him the paper. I said, well, I haven't gotten any mail or anything like that, right? So I gave them the paper. Then I'm like, find out with your mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
I called him back the next day. Pretty much he went off on me saying that I was trying to steal his money, whatever. He's like, I already called my mortgage, and they're saying that they don't know anything about a second. So what do you do in that case? Do you give them, because there's also an attorney's number? Give them, attorney's number, they're able to find out the information on that?
So let me tell you, so that's very common, you guys. So listen to this, and I'm gonna tell you one that Laura and I did. A lot of seconds are foreclosing on people. So a lot of people that bought houses in 2000, 5, 6, 7, the market went bad, they had seconds because they bought it 80-20. The seconds went out of business. People have not heard from the second since 2009. Fast forward to 2022, the second will send them something and say, Deshaun, you borrowed $50,000, you haven't paid since 09, you owe $175,000. People are like, what are you talking about? I don't even know who this company is. All the companies that went out of business, lawyers and other companies bought them for pennies on the dollar, then they foreclosed. So they bought that loan and somebody took out $50,000, they might have bought it for $1,000, then they try to get you to start paying. If you don't, they foreclose because they bought old bad loans. So Laura and I have had ones where we talked to people, they didn't know there was a second, they thought we were lying, they do have a second. So what I would do is print out the paper showing a second so they can call and then come back and check and say, did you call? Or I would call right there on the spot and say, what is this? I'm with Mr. DeVoe. You're saying he has a second, he borrowed $50,000, he hasn't heard from you guys. They'll tell you because that's what's happening. Because not everybody has equity because a first can foreclose anytime. A second can only foreclose if there's enough equity to pay off the first. So if you have a second at $100,000 and a first at $400,000, that's $500. If your house is worth $600,000, the second forecloses, gives the first their $400,000, and then they sell it and get the rest. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And they could only do it when there's enough equity. So because people don't have equity for all these years, the seconds just stay dormant. As soon as people had enough equity to foreclose, they come and foreclose, pay off the first, and you might have borrowed $50,000. They bought that note for $1,000. They're saying you owe $175,000. You don't pay them $175,000. So that means for $1,000 now they have you on the hook for $175,000. And they will either work out a mod or foreclose or you'll refi and pay them off. Okay? So we had one, Laura and I had one, the old black dude in the house by Paris High. He thought we were lying. So listen to this, Jonelle. We go, first of all, the daughter's about 40. She got a Benz parked outside. So in the house in Paris, the house was falling down, whatever. So we go and talk to the dude. He thinks we're lying. We're like, yeah, you have a second. It says you took out a second in 2019 for $60,000. I didn't take out no second. He was almost like, giving us, not almost, he was giving me and Laura attitude. And he thought we were lying. And so we look at the daughter and she looked at me. She was like, so what the Lakers gonna do this year? You know why? Because she took out the second and got that bid. Thank you. And when I say Laura, I say, you see that Benz right there? Because the daughter opened the door, the daughter's kid, because it was the grandfather, the daughter's about 40, and all these grandkids running around. She's sitting right there. So I said it to him, and I look at her, she like this, Melody. She like, she did $60,000.
Oh, she whistling?
Yeah, she like looking like this. She looking up at the ceiling. I'm like, I want to say, you better go talk to your daughter because you see that Benz out there. The house is falling down, Jonelle, in Paris. She got a Benz outside.
Wow.
That's what we do,
So
though.
how do they not know that they have?
Because the daughter probably said, hey, Dad, sign this. This is for the house. We're going to lower the payment. He signed getting $60,000. House was paid for. He bought it new in '89.
Oh, wow.
He bought it new and he had the second was foreclosed for like 60. Yeah. It was her lead. I went and talked to her. Yeah. Because, she'll door knock, but then she gets some old grumpy black people, she called me. That's what it is. I'm keep it real with you guys. So she got the old grumpy black dude, so she called me. So if he starts shooting, I'm gonna get shot first. That's what. But no, I'm just kidding. But that's what happened. Jonelle, am I lying? Dude wouldn't work with us. But what did he end up doing? I let it go because he was basically cussing and slamming the door on us. But I forget what happened. They did something.
Remember we checked and they ended up doing something.
They did something.
Yeah.
But that's what a lot of people, they don't know. Okay? Questions. Questions. So a lot of seconds are foreclosing as long as they have enough equity to pay off the first. Okay? All right. So NODs, you go back. Auction, you go forward. You pull the leads. If you're calling, you call all the counties. If you're door knocking, you put the county and city you want to do. You got to do a lot of cities. So questions before I go on to kind of the model of what you want to do. Questions. You've been door knocking. You door knocking. Yeah. You've been in how many a week? About 30? Because I know sometimes Saturday and Sunday he'll do 20 because he has a 9 to 5. He'll do 20 just on Saturday and Sunday.
That route me is golden.
I'm gonna start using that.
Yeah.
So like if you
Yeah, honestly, it's gonna save my life.
Is that route me free? Is it like an app or is it like a program that you
It's
have to
an
sign
app.
up for?
It's free.
Oh, it's an app.
Yeah, even though they have some parts that you have to pay for, but I just do it for the routing part, and then I'll just put my retrans in order that it gives me.
Yeah.
And then I'll put it in manually in my maps.
Okay. So real quick, you gotta go. Okay.
Can you send me the recording?
Yes, I'll send you the recording to everybody. You're taking good notes. I need you to make sure because you got it. Okay, perfect. And then what I was gonna say is a lot of times though, if you know your area, so like you know Rancho, so when you hit that card that tells you where it is, you know the one off Day Creek you do first, then you do Milliken, then you do Haven, then you do Archibald, then you do Carnelian, then you go down, you do the one off Foothill and Archibald, then you do the one off Fort. So once you start doing a lot, you're gonna know. You can still do route me, I'm sure that's great, but if you know your area, you can still, because you know what off ramps stop. I do that for Riverside Rancho, but definitely if the app makes it easier, I would say do that. You had a question?
Yes, what's the script for the auctions? Is it the same with the foreclosure? Like
Same
people
one.
during auction?
So remember I emailed you, so you have the script for when you call, script for if you leave a message, and script for if you are knocking on the door. You got that in your email?
Yes.
Same exact thing. And some people try to beat around the bush and, yeah, hey, well, I was in the area and I just say, my name is Robert, I help homeowners that are facing foreclosure, I'd like to help you stop the foreclosure in your home. Just direct, because, not to say, I mean, there might be a better script, but I think direct works, because then you either they're gonna say yes or no, then they're gonna give you some opposition, then you gotta get good at overcoming the opposition. Because 90% of them are gonna give you opposition. So if they say, oh, I'm working with an attorney and yeah, I think he's got a handle, and if you're like the lazy realtor, you say, okay, well just take my card, you're not gonna get deals. When they say that, like we're gonna role play. So I will call, I'm gonna call Janelle because she's probably good at giving me attitude. No, just kidding. I'll call Rochelle. What's your last name? Young, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll call Miss Young. I'll door knock. Hello, my name is Robert. I help homeowners that are facing foreclosure. I'd like to help you stop the foreclosure on your home.
What you talking about? What foreclosure?
Yeah, I have your house, Miss Young, right here at 12999 Red Cedar Way. You're going to auction on April 17th, and I help homeowners that are facing foreclosure. Did you not know it was in foreclosure?
Where do you get that information
It's
from?
public record. We pull public documents. Your lender filed a note with the county recorder. So it's actually going to auction on the 17th. So I'd like to meet with you to help you stop the auction. I'm sure you want to keep your home, don't you?
I don't think it's in foreclosure.
It is, and I actually have the sale hotline right here, so we could call the sale hotline. It'll tell you it's going to auction, but more importantly, because it is going to auction, you want to keep the house, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
Good, well, I'm glad I'm here, so we can do two things to help you. We can do a loan to bring it out of foreclosure, or we can do a refinance and give you a whole new loan. Which would be better for you?
I don't think it's in foreclosure.
Yeah, it is. Let's go ahead and call the sale hotline, and then I just call the sale hotline right there on the spot. They verify it's in foreclosure. Okay, now you see it's in foreclosure. I'm telling the truth. Do you want a new loan, or do you want me to just loan you the money to bring it out of foreclosure?
Oh, I gotta talk to my husband.
No problem. Is he home right now?
No, he won't.
Okay, what time will he be home?
Tomorrow evening.
Tomorrow, so he works overnight, huh?
Yeah,
Okay, no problem. What time will he be home about? What time? Would you say 6?
about 7:30.
Okay, 7:30. Let me just put a note.
Yeah, I got
Call
you.
after 7:30. Let me get your number and I'll call you tomorrow. Just remind you to talk to him. What's your phone number, ma'am?
It's 951.
Da-da-da-da-da. Write the number down. Okay, so he'll be home at 7:30. I put that on my paper. Okay, I'll call you tomorrow after 7:30. Can you do me a favor? Talk to your husband, and then I'll set up a time to come meet with you guys. We need to meet because your auction is next week. So I'll call you tomorrow so we can meet either tomorrow night or Thursday. Okay?
Now,
All right.
she just gave you a number. How do you know, or how are you checking? To make
A lot of
sure
times
that
I
it's not
do.
a
Tell me your
bunch
number because I don't take a pen up. So what I'll do is she gives me her number. Like Deshaun, what's your number? Tell me your real number. Say it again. 323.
715
Mm-hmm.
8100.
8100. Okay, check your phone. I want to make sure that's it, sir. See if my number, did it come up? 949? Okay, that's me. So yeah, I'll be calling. My name is Robert. I'll text you. I do that a lot because I want to make sure you don't give me a wrong number.
Okay.
So I do that.
But what if my phone is upstairs? And
It's
I
okay.
can't open the door.
It's okay. Sometimes they're going to give you a wrong number no matter what. Me and Carlos have the right number on one and the people not opening the door. So they're going to play games. But you have to be, so now Carlos and I, they agreed to sell. He was supposed to take pictures yesterday. Supposed to sign a list in a day. We're going to have to hunt him down. I know where the son works, so if we don't get him in 2 days, I'm going to go to the son's job. But so here's the thing. It sounds funny, but if y'all want,
You're saving
it's
family.
big money. It's big money.
Exactly.
We're averaging, there's my TC right there. We're averaging 35, 40,000 on deals. Small deals, 10 or 12, big deals, 60 or 80. I sent y'all the paperwork. So I don't mind not going, I'm gonna go to this job. Hey bro, remember what's going on? Because to me, I'm thinking it's 35, 40,000 right here.
Right.
We listed it, so I listed at 6%. I gave us 4%. That's 20,000. If we get a buyer, that's another 10. That's 30,000. 15 and 15. Most realtors won't do that because it sounds like you're stalking. You are. But guess what? I showed y'all the $100,000 months. What they gonna do? All they can say is no. Oh, bro, you can't cut off. Okay, man, well, I just wanted to, you do. Okay, well, when do you answer your phone? Because we called you. He stayed at the house for an hour. I sent through the text. Hey, man, Carlos is at your house. We're supposed to take pictures. He could be having dinner with his family right now. Where are you? I sent him a text, man. I feel guilty. Carlos has a wife and a young daughter. He want to be at home. Where's the dude's number? Hey, Mike, what's going on? I sent Carlos out there for the photos and listing. You guys aren't open the door. If you change your mind, no problem. Let me know. He came out there instead of having dinner with his family. Let's talk about it. I should put punk, but I didn't. I mean, but this is like But see, most realtors aren't going to do this, so they don't get deals. I do this training once a year. I get 6 or 7 people that say they're gonna do foreclosures. After a month and a half, they all quit. I showed him the HUDs. I said, I showed everybody, hey, when we closed the deal, me and Michael, his first deal, he made 32.5. I made 32. He brought it to me, we closed it, 5-day escrow. Misty, how many 3-day escrows have we done in the last 2 months?
I don't know a lot.
3 days, because cash buyers.
Do you do any that's already listed, but for sure it's like in the port? Like I showed a client of mine a foreclosure in Victorville, big lot, 300 and some thousand is trash. But would that be something that you would like look at it and be like, okay, yeah, let's look at this and see what we could do with it?
If it's listed, if I could call the agent doesn't know what they're doing, and I can get a cash buyer, yes. But I don't really go after ones that are listed because then you got to deal with the agent. If I stumble on one, I'll call. But if it's listed, I don't, because the agent is, even if they don't know how to work with the bank, they're in the way. So I just do that if I go door knock and it's listed, I'll call and see. But if it's listed, I try to go after ones that aren't listed. Because then you got to deal with the agent that throws a monkey wrench in it. Because even if they don't know what they're doing, they got it under contract, so they're kind of like in the way.
Okay.
So, what else? Questions? Go ahead, Rochelle. I can tell you a question. I can tell.
You see it. Okay, so if you get a meeting, you're sitting there with the seller, and we're involved in that meeting. They decide they're gonna list, and then what happens after that, and how much involvement do we have?
The more knowledgeable you are, I mean, I'll do all the work, but you'll be involved 100% of the way. So like Carlos brought one to me, he was gonna take the pictures, we're co-listing it. I did the listing agreement, he took it to get it signed. Misty's gonna put him as a co-listing agent, and we just split the deal. So you'll sit in a meeting and you'll learn. The more you learn, the more you can say, but really, all you gotta do is get the meeting and just sit there and get paid. I mean, you could interject, because you know, they met you first. So like Danny has had ones, we were on the phone today together. Frank got me a meeting in Chino, and we both sat. I did probably more of the talking, but Frank talked to him too. That was Mr., what's his name?
Shop.
Yeah, Shop with the house in India. I mean, with the house, he's from India, and the house had that spray and the mist. I was coughing because he had like the little mist like in a hook lounge. And he was sitting in a rocking chair. It was a little weird. But I was worried about somebody coming from behind me with a sword or something. But he had the mist going, and it smelled like we were in like a massage parlor or something. But so you guys will talk, but if you don't know a lot about foreclosure, it's probably better if you just kind of learn, because foreclosures are a little different. But you know, you'll be sitting there because they might have connected with you, so you're the reason I have the appointment, so they might feel more comfortable talking to you, so you'll do some of the talking. It's just a conversation. It's not like I'm gonna elbow you and say don't say anything. We just talk, but I try to get it done quick. I don't want to be in somebody's house for an hour where they're gonna go with us or not. Carlos said a meeting. Carlos, so Mr. Sterling, just tell him, give him they came in office last week. The son is crazy. The dad's an old Creole dude. The house they bought in '73. Tell him how the meeting went.
It was literally like a 2-minute meeting, in and out.
Yeah, but tell him what happened. So the guy came in, we sat down.
Yeah, so the son he was upset, you know, he looked like he was ready to tackle me and Robert.
Yep.
So we obviously took him to the conference room and all that good stuff, and, you know, something that I commend Robert is he's just really good at building rapport. You know, I haven't met anybody that builds rapport that well. And he was able to, you know, calm the situation, connect with the person that he needed to connect with, and, you know, he turned it around like in 3 minutes. They were ready to sign at that moment.
Yeah, so it really, and I sent you guys what a meeting looks like. So in that email with the scripts, the first 3 pages of the script, second page is objection overcomers. I mean, that's the 4th page. The 5th page is getting them to work with you, saying stuff like, well, I'm glad I'm here, Ms. Carter, we need to get started. Or good, your husband will be home tomorrow, Ms. Young, we need to meet with him. Or good, I'm glad you canceled that bankruptcy, now we can really solve the problem. But the last page is what a meeting looks like. The meeting is really about 30, 40 minutes. Unless I know they're not gonna work with us, then I try to get them out. I try to get out there in 15 minutes. But even if they are, I wanna be at happy hour watching the Lakers. I don't wanna be in somebody's stinky house for an hour. So I try to get in and get out. So what I'll do just like this. Say your house is in foreclosure. Hey, Miss Wimbush, how are you doing? I'm glad we're able to meet with you. So, how long have you lived in Rancho?
10 years.
Okay, now where are you from originally? You from Rancho or you from the
LA.
city? You from LA? I'm from LA. Where'd you go to high school?
Washington.
What? That's my neighborhood school. I grew up right there, Western Imperial. What you know about Lucy's on Imperial and Western? You know about
Tacos
Lucy's?
all day, everybody.
There you go. So you're a general. I went there for summer school. But me and my buddy Cedric. Do you know a guy named Cedric Wimbush?
Yeah, I heard of it.
You heard of him? Yeah, we went to Hawthorne High. We used fake addresses, but we were supposed to go to Washington. How'd you like Washington?
As long as you don't step on the W, you are.
As long as I remember that in summer school, you step on that W, you might get punched. I remember that.
You don't like.
Yeah, you would get punched, huh?
Right.
Yeah, I grew up there. So we just sold my mom's house back in 1999. Where was your house?
Off 105th and Western.
Oh, you right there. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I was about to say what gang is over there. I don't be that familiar. I was about to say, yeah, UG. But anyway, so, okay, yeah, I know F&M Market. That's cool. Yeah, I grew up in that same neighborhood. So how you like it out here? It's a lot quieter,
A
right?
lot quieter, lot less head swivel.
Yeah, see, out there, and I talked to my buddies out there, the twins live on Van Ness. It's still, it's still having issues out there. They're fighting right now. So you came here about 10 years ago? Okay. And where do your kids go to school?
My last one is at Rancho High.
Okay, my buddy's kids played there. A kid, Winbush, another kid, CJ Stroud, a lot of kids. Yeah. Was your son playing sports?
Yeah, you played with Stroud.
Oh, really? He knows CJ?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the whole family. CJ just got drafted by Houston.
Correct.
I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just do that because then they get comfortable. Then you can really get to the problem. Because we met with the dude. The dude looked like he was upset, but he was playing a game like he didn't know why they were in foreclosure. Once we de-escalated that, then he told us they were in a mod, they missed a payment. But when we were on the phone with him, after we hung up, I was like, Carlos, the dude's lying. He knows what happened. But with us, I don't know how we in foreclosure. He told us the truth. He went to Colton High. I was like, hey, this dude, my buddy went there, George Hemingway. Now, I don't know George Hemingway, but I know of him. So I said I knew him. The guy was like, oh, I know George. I said, yeah, he played football in Colorado. The next thing you know, we were talking about when George would chase it. Next thing you know, he was cool. Am I lying? I just made it up. I just made it up.
You know everybody.
But you gotta be able to do something to get them to work with you. Because you know what? 10 people are knocking on the door. Why are they gonna work with you? Right? That's number one. Number two, you have to do what other realtors won't do. Most realtors will say, oh, you got an attorney? Well, let me give you my card in case you're not gonna get deals. Most attorneys are not gonna go to the son's job. I mean, most realtors, I'm gonna go to the son's job. Because to me, it's not personal. It's $20,000, $30,000 on the line. Got it? So you have to do what the other people won't do. Question.
Just kind of back to what you're saying on that too, because I think you're just tying in, like making sure. But like, one of my old VPs taught me something, and it's like learning all the different licenses for that people need to get to go be a paramedic or go be like a lab tech or whatever, and just knowing all of them. So like, oh, my wife is doing that. Oh, my wife did that too. Yeah, and then go over that, like how'd that go? Kind
exactly.
of
Something
and, like,
to connect.
Common ground. Exactly.
Yep. Some way to connect. You have to do that because you got to remember it's competitive. 10 people are either calling or door knocking. So why are they going to work with you? Why are they going to work with you instead of him who was just at the house 2 days ago? What are you going to do different or better? Okay? Sometimes it's just the way you look, the way you talk. You're a lady, she'd rather work with you. Or you look like the lady that her husband left, she ain't going to work with you. She going to work with him because he looks like her nephew. Or sometimes it's because you're bilingual, they're going to work with you. But I don't worry about that. That's their hang up. Because Carlos got the people to come in, older black Creole dude. And him and his son. He's Latino. He got it. So I don't worry about that. You just got to go. Because some people, that's their hang up. It's not my hang up. So questions. So you know how to do NODs. When you call, you just do all of them. When you're door knocking, Rochelle, right, you do the county and the city and do all your cities. How many do you want to do a week minimum? What's the number? 25. Here's a sample schedule. Because you could do Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 4 to 6. And then you could do Saturday morning 10 to 12. Because some people think it takes a lot of time. You could do an hour and a half a day, 4 days a week. That's it. You still do all your regular real estate. Saturday mornings are good, Sunday mornings are good.
How many times are you going back to that same house?
Until I get a final yes or no, I might go 4 or 5 times. Most realtors don't do that, they go once. I might go because one time they're not home. Second time they're there, they're trying to get a loan. Third time, I'm still waiting to hear from my uncle if he's gonna loan me the money. Fourth time, they're not there. Fifth time, the auction's coming up, they gotta do something. Because if I'm door knocking that area, I'll go back to that one when I have a new batch in the same area. So I might go 3, 4, or 5 times. Most realtors go once, maybe twice. I go until I get a final yes, they work with me, or no, they're not gonna work with me. And they might give you a no the first time. I filed bankruptcy, I'm not even talking to you guys. Okay, take it off the list, throw it away.
I've noticed a couple of houses I've gone to are like abandoned, like
Okay.
vacant.
Good.
I tried calling the numbers that are listed on Retran.
Yep.
But like I still get nothing. Some of them are off the hook.
Okay, so listen to this. That's what most realtors will do. That's okay. That's good because you start. Call the number on Retran. 70% of these numbers are no good. 60 or 70%, you got to know that. So the next step is, write this down, go to Spokio. Spokio.com. So if you were to go to Spokio and look up Randy Contreras at this address, it'll give you a number. Most realtors don't get Spokio and look people up. Spokio is going to give you the number of their number, spouse's number, adult children's number. It's going to give you the ex-wife. I called one in Mobile, and the ex-wife said, I don't live with him no more. He left me for that girl. I hope he loses the house. You're going to get exes. You're going to get relatives.
How much is Spokio?
It's probably about $20-some a month. It's a game changer. You guys can share that. And for $25-30 a month, it gives you like 200 searches. Let me just take, this is Byron real quick. I'll tell him I'm in the training. B, I'm in the training. I'll call you right back. 5 minutes. Okay. So I'm grandfathered in because I've had it like 6 years. I pay $29 every 6 months. But if I cancel it to get more searches, which I never go over 200, it'd be like $25-30 a month. It's worth it though. If you get your own and you pay $30 a month, that's $360 a year. One deal pays for 10 years. It's worth it because most realtors don't do that. They look at this number or they don't even call. They just door knock. I use Spokio. Now here's another thing I do when it's vacant. I talk to neighbors. How many neighbors do you think I talk to? Like 4. So here's the house. I talk to this neighbor, and 2 across the street until I get info on it. If the first one gives me good info, I'm good. If not, I go here, here, and here. You got to do what other people don't do, and they don't do that. They don't talk to 3 or 4 neighbors. They don't go to Spokio. They don't go to the job. I'm gonna go back and knock on the house in Riverside, 2826 Brockton. I mean, it's right by Fairmount Park. I'm gonna go knock on the door. Hey, Mr. Sterling, what's up? Auction May 25th. What's going on? All they can say is no, right? And remember, it could be 30,000. So what I have to lose if I don't get it? Because I've had ones that were in escrow and then they went dark on us. They were in escrow and they don't answer the phone for 2 or 3 days. So just because they're going through something. It's not personal. Going through a divorce, loss of job, death, something. Okay? Questions?
So I'm assuming the properties that have, multiple auction dates, they're most likely, playing the game, right? They're playing.
If they have 4, 5, or 6, if it's 1, and write this down, if it's 1, 2, or 3, I still go.
Yeah.
If it's 5 or 6, I just don't go because I've learned that they're already doing something. They're not gonna work with me.
Yeah.
So I just don't do it because 17 years, I very rarely have luck with those. Some of those people still lose it because they miss a payment down the line and they lose it, but that's on them. Question?
So the listing, let me just go back to that.
What if it's
you
listed?
guys- Like if you guys get a listing out of it, are you co-listing broker?
We're the same. We're the same agent.
Oh.
So because he's with Realty One Group, I can co-list with him. Because he's with a different, I can't co-list, but he gets the same 50%. So he actually does less work. I list it, I get it sold, and we do a referral agreement before it's even in escrow. We do the referral, and he gets paid 50%. And whatever his split is, his split's different than mine. Whatever his split is, just say he's on a 70-30, 10,000, it's 7,000. Yeah. That's it. So we just don't co-list it. But it's almost like he does less work. He just brings me the deal, we set an appointment, we get the list, and he gets paid. And he's gonna be involved. I might have him go talk to the people, do this, He's gonna call me, what's going on, inspections today, appraisals Friday. Yeah. It's just like he was with my company.
Got it. And then, the loan part again?
If we do a loan, that's a good question. If they have enough equity and they won't sell, I have a hard money lender, that was him calling me. As long as they have enough equity, they'll go up to 65% of the value. So if it's worth $1 million, they'll do a loan up to $650. Okay, no more than that because they already have shown they aren't going to pay, so they don't want to go too high in case the new lender has to foreclose. Okay, as far as that, we can usually charge 2 points. So if it's a $500,000 loan, 2 points is $10,000. You get 5, I get 5 in 2.5 weeks. We started working about a week and a half ago. Appraisal was Sunday. We'll probably have loan docs. That was the lender calling me.
So like if we will be not co-listing, we won't be co-listing, but we will get a referral. So how do we get it? I guess we just use a referral form.
Yeah, standard car referral form from your broker. Yep. But let me say this: I only list Like that one didn't have as much equity. I only list like 1 out of 10. I usually sell it to an investor. We get paid in a week. So you bring me one in Upland, they owe 3, it's worth 680. We sell it to an investor for 520. We don't list it. We just sell it to an investor. If the investor's paying, and I'll explain to you, but whatever the investor's paying, we get paid in a week because we do a 3 or 4 day escrow. So it doesn't hit the market. I only list 1 out of 10. The other 9, we either do a loan or I sell it to an investor. 5-day escrow. Because like you want to get paid in 5 days or 45.
So if that investor, do they keep it or they turn around, fix it up and put it back on the market?
They turn around, fix it, put it back on the market.
You list it
Nope,
again?
I used to. I don't like to list it. Let me tell. So here's the thing. This will make sense to you. Remember we met at Starbucks. I said this is totally different than mom and pop 2% real estate. Carlos has already heard this spiel. I like to make big money. When you relist for an investor and you promise them you can resell it for $700, then they want you to hold open houses. You promise them $700, you only get $680. They got an attitude. It might take 2 weeks to get it in escrow, then a 40-day escrow. So I've now waited 50 days to make 2% on, say I resell it for $600,000. 40 or 50 days to make $12,000. I used to insist that they let me relist. I don't do that anymore because the 40 or 50 days that would take me to list it, get in escrow, and get paid to make another $12,000, I could go get 2 more foreclosures and make 80. So my thing is, at 55, I don't want to work for somebody where they say, well, Robert, I need you to hold 4 open house every weekend to a sales. I'm not doing that. I'm watching the Lakers. I'm smoking well, I'm not smoking a cigar. I'm having Chardonnay. But look, Misty made a face. I'm not doing that. And so my thing is, so this is totally different than mom and pop. I'm going to resell it for you, and I promise you this, and I'm all, why am I going to open house, spend 3 hours a day, 4 days, that's 12 hours. In 12 hours, I can go get 3 more foreclosures and make 100. So I do not relist. They all have their own in-house. They relist. Yeah, because I'm on getting another foreclosure and selling it to them and making $40,000. So remember, I only list 1 out of 10. The other 9, I either do a loan or sell to an investor. We have money in 5 days. And if you have a house that you're losing and you say, Robert, give me 400, I'm good. And he's an investor and he says, Robert, I'll buy it at 480 because I can flip it for 630. Me and you just made 80,000 in a week. Would you rather do that or list it and make 2%? We just did that one because it didn't have enough equity. He owes 440, he's 40 behind, fixed up is worth 540. The investor, we called investors, we had nobody. But we'll just take our 20,000, that's cool. But usually I sell it to an investor and make 40 in a week. That's why. And let them resell it. I'm off getting other foreclosures. Does that make sense, Rochelle?
Yeah.
So we're not doing mom and pop. You gotta think completely what everybody at Providence does and everybody here does. I don't do that. I do foreclosures and make way more. I'm just not. I did that. You don't need to do that. That's one way to make money. 2% or 40,000 in a week.
And investors, if we have our own investor, how's that work?
Whoever's gonna pay the most. So if you got a couple, you might have one that says 460, 470. I might have 2. He says 480. He says 490. We go with him. If your guy's the highest, we go with him. As long as you close with them. Now, if they're a new investor, because I have good ones, I have investors, I probably get 3 or 4 emails, texts a week. If I haven't closed with them, I'm a little leery because you have a lot of wholesalers who will tie it up. They can't close, and then you're in escrow with them, and they got to go find a buyer.
Find another.
Yeah.
investor.
So if it's a new investor you haven't used, no. But if it's somebody I know that has investors, then I would use them.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's it. I just go through and I tell my investors, hey, dude, I got somebody higher than you. I just tell them. They don't take it personal because I've sold them enough houses. So you're at 480, Danny's at 490. I gotta go. Can you go to 490? Nope. Okay, I'm gonna go with Danny. I just tell them. They don't take it personal because it's just money with them.
Some of the investors they say they're investors, but they're not really. They're really wholesaling.
No, because I've used all mine. I've done deals with them.
Okay.
I don't deal with anybody new because I got 5 guys that will close with me in 3 days. So I just don't. I don't. Yeah.
What are you putting with your investors? Like, what's the average close time, and are they putting like, non-refundable EMDs? Like, if it was a new investor, you put anything like that?
If it's a new investor, but see, so I don't use any new ones. If it's a new one, I might make them do a non-refundable, like 15, 20,000. But my investors, listen to this, Carlos. She doesn't. I don't even put my investors. I don't even require a deposit because I've been using them 5 years, Jonelle. So because they were having to do a deposit and pay a wire fee on Monday, then they were closing at another $35, $50 on Wednesday. Because I trust them, I don't even do a deposit. The purchase price is $500 cash, no deposit. Because I've done deals with them, 10 deals. So we don't do a deposit. We just close on Wednesday. I get the payoff Monday, I get the prelim Tuesday, we close on Wednesday, I get paid on Thursday. No deposit. Because I've used these guys for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. If it was somebody new, Rochelle, I haven't used anybody new in years. Probably 5 years. Because no need, just go to the same people. So, makes sense? Same barber, same investor. Right? I don't try to do barbers every year. I just same barber until he messes my hair up, then I get a new one. Questions?
Mine's already gone.
There you go. So yeah, you good. Question? Melanie, question?
No.
Michelle? So remember, we only list probably 1 out of 10. The other 9 we either do a loan or we sell to an investor and make our money. And we list it today, Tuesday. We close on Friday. We got money on Monday. We had no open house, no order, no sign, no home inspection, no waiting on an appraiser. Yeah, I don't do stuff that doesn't make money. How many of you guys, when you have an inspection, do you go sit when the inspector comes? Why?
Just to be there in case anything happens. Like, we had one where the water heater or something like that burst when they was testing the water. And then they were like, okay, are they responsible or who's responsible?
Inspector.
Yeah,
So-
but the inspector.
So let me say this. So, and maybe I'm a little the opposite from Jonelle. She's probably more caring and loving than I am. I do not do anything that doesn't make money. So I don't do open houses. Like the one in LA, I let another agent hold open house. Had 52 people last weekend. I never sit for inspections and I don't want my people to come. So I tell them, don't go because you're gonna distract the inspector. You're in the way, you're gonna ask questions. And I don't go sit anywhere for 3 hours. That's 3 hours I could door knock. So I only do things that make money. That's just me though. And Jonelle hasn't been doing real estate as long as me. So I used to do that, but then I stopped because that's 3 hours. I could door knock in 3 hours. I could probably get to 15 houses in Riverside. So I might get another deal, make 40,000 in them 3 hours. So that's just what I don't do. But a lot of agents do that. So I'm totally different from the traditional real estate. And it's not for everybody. Some people it's not for. It's not because you're not gonna want to stalk the people, you're not gonna want to talk to the neighbor, you're not gonna want to go and buy Spokio. And you're not gonna make 40,000 in 4 days. Not everybody gonna do that. That's okay. Make your 10,000 in 70 days. That's okay. I'm gonna take the 50 in 5 days, and I'm Melanie. My TC's right there. That he does. They all work for my company. I'm telling you, it's totally different. So So if you guys want to make big money, this is big money. This is like could be 100,000 in a month. But you gotta go for it. You gotta be willing to do what other people don't want to do.
What's the most you made in 1 month?
170, 180. March, 170, 180. March. I did 2.6 in March.
That's your biggest ever?
No, I did last April. I did 4.2. So, but sometimes, let me say this: sometimes you might sell a $500,000 house, and you make 60,000, where somebody else sell a $500,000 house and make 10,000, because I'm not listed and getting 2%. I might have sold it. My investor might have said he'd pay 5, but she said she'd sell it for 420. So on this list where they do the rankings, oh, Robert did okay. He did a $500,000 sale, but Robert made 80,000 on that. You did 2 $500,000 sales and you made 15,000 or 20,000.
Who wins?
So it's different. So I don't worry about the rankings. I worry about how much money I'm making. It's totally different. Yeah, it's totally different. It's, you don't know about that. It's about the money. So that's why. So the rankings don't really matter. It's the money you make. Because she might be willing to take 420, and if he's paying 5, that's 80,000. If you list it, and I listed at 420, I'm gonna make my $8,000 in 70 days, and that's good for some people, Michelle. Some people are happy with $8,000 in 70 days. All right, that means you made about 4,000 a month. Some people, Carlos, are happy. A lot of people are happy with 4,000 a month. I'd rather make 60, 70, 80 in a week. That's just the way it is. Okay. Rochelle, I can tell you think. I can see. Yep. No, I can see. Because how long you been doing real estate?
I've been licensed 20 years now.
See, and this is totally different. So she's known me for 2 weeks. So I'm introducing her to something that is totally different. So you just have to think different. That's it.
So my question is, I mean, me being getting my realtor license, what would that make difference in this whole
Either
situation?
you get the same split. So you can maybe list it, co-list it like Carlos. You get the same split whether you are licensed or not. Actually, you have less restrictions not being licensed. But I would still say get your license because then maybe you want to start listing some homes too.
And so I actually, like you said, I never been interested in like having to sit at an open house because I do so many other things.
Yep.
Looking at my computer, I want
Yep.
to go.
Yep.
So would it be best to stay unlicensed, like you're saying? I mean,
You have less restrictions with foreclosures. I mean, that's a person. If you want to start selling real estate, I would say get my license. If you just want to do foreclosures,
Get your
then no.
license.
But I would say yeah, because there's more options for you. Then you can start selling all your family and friends' houses,
that's true.
so you can make more money.
On the side.
Yeah, do the foreclosure separately. Any other questions? All right. Well, you guys have my email. I'll send the notes. Hopefully, Deshaun took good notes. Hopefully, Frank got me all. Well, good. I'll send it to you. So when you have questions, okay, questions? Hey, so when you want to laugh tonight, Michelle, just think: do I want to make 12,000 in 70 days or 80,000 in 4 days?
Exactly.
There you go.